Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Malaun Rice here with me today, and I want to say hello to you. How you doing, Malaun? Hello. How you doing, Malaun? You doing all right? All right, y'all. Maybe she can't hear us right now, but that gives me space and opportunity to say hello to each and every person who's tuned in right now, whether you be on Roku TV, Apple TV, Android TV, or Facebook or YouTube. I want to say hi to you. When you tune in, it means a lot. I looked at my analytics, and you guys been coming to stop by with us here on America's Next Motivator. Malaun, can you hear us out there? Give me 1 second. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Let's see if I take her off and bring her back. Hello? Malaun, can you hear me out there? Okay, I'm going to ask her to leave and come back, and we'll see if that works. Hey, Malaun, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I heard that, but you were broken up for the first part of the show. Can you hear me? Okay, y'all, she's going to leave and come back. And that gives me time to talk to you guys about a couple things that I have going on right now. I'm building an academy. It's called the Pride Empowerment Academy. Some of you out there were sponsors of the Pride Empowerment Academy, and that's coming. I realized through the conversations that I've been having in the community, in the barbershops, that we need more programming. We need program that communicates what we're supposed to be doing, programs that communicate how we're supposed to be growing into effective adults in the community. And so I'm building that for parents, for young adults, for the whole community. It's going to be called the Pride Empowerment Academy, and it's definitely coming. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, guys, I've been doing pretty good, man. I had some olives today. As I always do. I love to have my olives. And drank some water. I could drink a little bit more water, but there was a time I drank a gallon of water a day, and I realized that drinking water is a lifestyle. Drop a one in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Drinking water is a lifestyle because you gotta go to the bathroom every 20 minutes or so. Let's see if we can get Malaun back in the building. Give me 1 second. And we're back. Malaun, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. Hi. I don't know what's happening, technology.
Yep. It happened. So say hello to everybody out there. I was talking to them a little bit about a couple things that I have going on, but I'm very excited to get to know you tonight and to discover your journey leading up to the work that you do today.
Right. Well, hello, America, social media, everywhere, wherever you're from, we're from across the seas. Hello, good evening or good morning.
That's right. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, but I currently live in Phoenix right now. But I'm from a little Chi-town, a couple famous people from there, maybe, the 44th president of the United States and the first lady, I don't know. So, maybe a little, Shaka Khan, Kanye West, something like that. Maybe Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls. No big deal, right?
You you mentioned Barack Obama and Michelle when
Hmm.
they presided over the country.
Hmm.
How did that make you feel as a native Chicagoan? How did that empower you, or how did that impact your overall perspective on things?
I think it affected me being from Chicago. It was great that they were from Chicago, as
Mhm.
well as First Lady was born and raised there. So it was great for them being in Chicago, but it more affected me more so being a Black woman in America, getting to see a Black man in the White House and getting to see a First Lady be a First Lady. And not more of a, because I always seen first ladies as Stepford wives, kind of. They were more, so mechanical. And she was more like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and I love that aspect,
Mhm.
So,
So
so it was
you were inspired. You were inspired by Michelle Obama.
I was inspired by all of it,
Mhm.
So it just goes to my whole. Well, actually, I believe in God. So the word says nothing is impossible. You can do anything. So that just showed me that.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
What was it like? What was it like for you growing up in Chicago?
Oh Lord. Typical summers, you hang out with your friends, the kids live on the block, you got the ice cream trucks, you got all type of stuff going on.
Mhm.
You had your good times, your bad times, you had your good memories and your bad memories, but a lot of us choose to hold on to the good memories, ice cream trucks, the icy cups, the penny candy,
That's right.
all
That's
that
right.
good stuff. Going downtown Chicago, with your family.
Mhm.
That was a field trip for, when you were younger. Now that we adults, that means you're gonna spend money.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
in some shape, way, or form. So growing up in Chicago was great. For the most part, but we all have our things that we have to deal with. Some of us have had traumatic, or most of us actually probably had some traumatic experiences that led us to who we are now. So
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have step siblings, but I have a sister that is 6 years younger than me. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. And do you have, or did you have a good relationship with your parents growing up?
I have a good relationship with my parents growing up. I would say, based on what I was taught, yes. Based on what I know now, no,
Okay.
not the best. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best either.
Mhm. That brings me to my next question. What
Hmm.
is a good relationship between a parent and a child? What is a good relationship?
Hmm. I think relationships, period, whether you're in a relationship with a man, relationship with anybody, is basically defined by those people in the situation. So what may be a good relationship for me may not be a good relationship for you. So for me, I think it's 100% being in tune with your children, being in tune with them and knowing, their moods, when something is wrong, how to react to things. Parents are not perfect, they don't come here with a manual and say, okay, this is when Malaun does this, turn to page 93. No, it's not how it went. But a lot of, I can say, I love what I see, from relationships with parents, or parenting has been handed down from our grandparents and our great grandparents, and it's not always the best thing. Like, I totally do not believe in beating your child and hollering them in the store and cussing at them. I'm like, that's like slavery. Stop it. So I don't believe that. Do believe in having a conversation because they're human. They can hear you. You can teach them right from wrong. You know, and just being emotionally connected. Because I think a lot of parents are, they, because I have friends who parents unfortunately are not here with us anymore. Some of them never knew their parents, right?
That's right.
But And when they always say to me, well, at least you had your parents. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's worse them being here or being emotionally disconnected. Because being emotionally disconnected is almost like you're not being there. So I don't know if it's worse with you physically being there and still being emotionally disconnected.
I
So
know I know a lot of people say there's no manual, there's no book on effective parenting. But I see a need for parenting classes for the general public, parenting classes, and just more programming in general geared toward people who are just everyday people. I
mhm.
just think that we need more programming in general. What do you think about that?
So let me preempt this by saying I'm not a parent. So there is some things I really can't expound on,
Mhm.
but there are organizations that I know of. Matter of fact, my sister works for one of them. That is an organization that educates and lifts up families, and makes sure that they understand how to do all the things that you're referring to. So I don't think it hurts, because hey, we don't know everything, we just don't. We came here, knowing what we needed to know, and then we depend on our parents or the people who did choose to raise us to teach us, what they know, and they teach us based on what they know, so you know,
That's right. That's right. What was elementary school like for you?
it was such a blur. It was a
Hmm.
blur.
Hmm.
I don't really remember a lot of our elementary school. I don't remember bad experiences at elementary school per se. I know
Hmm.
I was a smart kid. I lived on the south side of Chicago, and so um, I tested out of a lot of the regular schools. So I had to get bused to the smart kid school,
Really?
or yeah, because my teachers was like, well, she gonna get bored. She's smart. Send
Right.
her here. Whatever. And
Did you ever?
and so I do remember going to a couple different schools, because I moved around a little bit when I was younger, So, but other than that, I remember I learned about I definitely I don't my parents and my grandparents told me about racism, but I experienced it being at a school where it was diverse, elementary school. So the first time I was called a nigger, I was like in sixth grade. So
Wow.
yeah.
What was it like dealing with that experience?
I didn't. I was just like, whatever. I mean, I never spoke to him again, like
Right.
ever. I thought he was a cool white kid, but I think he was honestly thinking back on. I think he was just showing out in front of his friends, but it was still hurtful,
Hmm.
So that it is what it is. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
What was going on in your world around middle school? Were you going to the skating rink like everybody else in America?
no middle. And what you think middle age is?
No,
Middle
I said middle school.
age. Oh, well, what do you think what middle school age is? Because what do you think it
Uh,
is?
like 12 years old.
So 12 years old, no. And I'll tell you why. And that's really because I was a sexual assault survivor. So I was kidnapped off the street at 10 years old. And so I was sexually assaulted. So for me, I wasn't trying to go too far from nowhere and definitely not trusting a grown man besides the grown men that were in my family.
Wow.
So I didn't, I go, it took me a little bit to, go back, I'll go to my friend's house, but I'm pretty sure it was tough for them because I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go out. I
Wow.
was a little, traumatized. I don't
Mhm.
remember a lot. That's why when you asked me how was elementary, I was like, I don't know, because when you have traumas like that, it's normal for you not to remember a good portion of your life. And I don't remember anything from age 10 to about 15. Not really.
Wow.
So I've seen pictures of me at family events, and I was like, I guess I was there because I'm on the picture.
Mhm.
But,
Mhm.
So that was pretty traumatizing to, get kidnapped off the street and, held against my will for hours. And then it was even more traumatizing, because this person went to jail. He served
Mhm.
time for raping me, but having to be 10 years old and go to court, sit in front of and tell that story over and over and over and over again, because I had to tell it to the police, tell it to the prosecutors, I had to tell it to the judge, I had to tell it to when I got to court, they prepped me for court. It was just I was dead. I was like, I was dead, you know. And so then, more so, my parents took me to get therapy, which they absolutely should have.
Mhm.
But they probably were thinking, he's a grown man. I was like, I'm not talking to him. All I did, even though my parents were sitting there with me, I was just like, anything he asked me, I was like, it could have
Wow.
been, do you think the sky is purple? Hmm.
Right. Right.
So it was, so that trauma, I'm sure with thousands of men and women, because it just doesn't affect women. I know there are men who have even confessed to me that they have been raped by a man in their family or a woman,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it's not, unusual for that to happen. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be happening at all. So, but yes, so that's pretty much with my trauma of me being a sexual assault survivor is how I got to where I am now, being a life coach and being a speaker, because I went through extensive healing processes in order for me to even be the productive human being that I am now, you know. So for all of those years, what happened, I was dead, not physically in here, because that's what it comes to do. It comes to kill you in your
Wow.
mind. So I was dead in my mind, and that's why I don't remember things. I had a disdain for Black men specifically. I like y'all, but I ain't like it. I ain't like y'all that much. And that's
Wow.
because all of my trauma have came from, a Black man. I'm just, then, so whether it was a breakup, I related, in high school, that was a trauma for me, it didn't have to be, but that's how my mind processed it. Oh, you just want to hurt me like this person. If it was, any man said they were going to do something and they didn't do it, so it brought up trust issues, all types of stuff that I was not aware of as a teenager. I'm trying to be a teenager, go to prom, graduate, go to college. And boy, dating was not easy for me.
Right.
Because I had a lack of respect. So I clearly remember, how old was I? Like,
Hold on for a second.
uh-huh, okay.
I feel that you relate to so many thousands of young women and young
Uh-huh.
men
Uh-huh.
across the country in this moment right here.
Yeah.
I am stopped in my tracks at what you went through. And
Mhm.
I can say from my own life experience that my mother experienced rape, my grandmother experienced rape, and there are other women in my life who've experienced rape as well. And I just see you as a representative of surviving through that experience. And
Mhm.
I want to make this a victorious moment for everybody as much as possible who's been through something like that to learn how they can possibly get back on their feet, because like you said, it's so traumatic, it's so wrong. There's so
Mhm.
many thoughts going through my mind right now about how do we protect children better. Let's start there. Do you have any ideas about that?
I actually speak for an organization here called the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence. I speak for them a lot, based on being a woman who was raped as a child. Um, be in tune with your kids. I know we need a village, you know, to, and I'm not saying that my parents weren't. That's not what I'm saying, because that was going to happen regardless, so there was nothing I can do about it. And it's not my fault that it happened, you know.
Right.
So, but be in tune with your children, because sometimes it's happening from, a lot of the women and men I talk to, it happens right under your roof, you know,
Okay.
so be in tune with your children. um, Let them know, you know, not to trust everybody, and trust their instincts. If they feel something is wrong, because actually when he grabbed me, about 30 seconds before he grabbed me, I was like, something's wrong. I felt it, but it was too late. Right.
Wow.
So trust your instincts. Um, also, just educate them on it. You know, we're in a time that we can't sugarcoat nothing. You know,
Right.
there's, babies, little girls are, under the age of 12 years old are being, in sex trafficking. I'm not sure people know what sex trafficking is, but they drug them and they have sex with multiple men all day long. That's why they drug them. They can have sex up to uh 30 or 40 men.
Hold
And the
on,
thing,
hold on.
mm-hmm,
My eyes are spinning backwards right now.
mm-hmm,
When I share the passion that I feel about families, about children, about the work that we need to do to make
mm-hmm.
everything tighter, this is where that passion comes from, everybody. Blow up the chat, y'all. Blow up the chat. Let's get some hearts and likes in the building for Malaun Rice. The courage, the transparency of sharing what she's been through today. It's not easy to talk about this for the 1,000th time in your life. And tonight we're gonna make it count here on America's Next Motivator. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to America's Next Motivator, because we're gonna get some solutions out of this. I honestly feel that we need to come up with a way to surveil our children. They need little cameras on them, or
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be some way that we can ensure the safety or the understanding of what's going on around our children. I think gone are the days where our children should just be walking around with no way of us keeping tabs on them, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Anytime there's a problem in a corporation that's going places, they fix that problem. And so when you look on the patterns that have been happening in our communities across America, child trafficking, kidnapping, those are patterns that have been long standing throughout American history. And I think it's about time that we solve that problem. Those are my thoughts.
Well, they do have, I know my friends have trackers on their kids, their teenagers and their younger kids' phone. So they can know where they are, and track them, if anything. So that's I think everybody should have their trackers on, you and I, because we in America, I'm just saying.
Right.
So but I think I was like 26 years old. 26, 27, when I was like, this can't be, because I was angry. Says angry at everything, angry, and it was just a lot. And all those emotions just whirling around. And I was just like, okay, this cannot be what I came here for. This cannot be, period. So what I did is I joined a church. I'm gonna be honest. I joined a church because that's what my grandmother taught me. When trouble, go to church, and I have no problem with anybody who goes to church or anything like that. I'm just saying, this is my journey and what I did. So
That's perfectly
for
fine.
yeah,
That's
so for
perfectly
me,
fine. Go ahead.
I personally didn't get what I needed, and I didn't know what I needed. So here's the one thing I have learned in my journey. And I'm not saying that there are not churches that are doing that. I'm just saying that's not what what I needed. But I didn't have the tools. Like, I didn't even know where to begin to even start the healing process. I had no idea. I was just knowing that this can't be, I just kept saying this cannot be, all this sadness and, depression and crying and all this stuff. I was like, and I was this close from being an alcoholic, because, generally when people drink a lot, smoke marijuana a lot, or things like that, generally those are people who don't want to feel whatever they're feeling inside. And for me, I didn't want to feel none of that. But after I sober up, it was looking at me like, still here. So are you going to deal with it or are you not? So it took me to go to therapy.
Okay.
So people go to therapy. Find you a therapist who you mesh with, that that you feel that can relate to you and can really speak to your issues, and when you look for therapists, they'll tell you what their specialties are. So I started going and dealing with all those dark places, right? I had to really go back and save the little girl that I left. Because so basically, let me go back. So after he penetrated me and he raped me, he let me out of his house. I was in a dark basement for hours, like it was dark. So, and so when he let me out into an alleyway, right? Now, the blessing in all of this is he could have killed me. He really could have, but he didn't. So I'm thanking, God, that I'm still here because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But um, he let me out, and I really left that little girl in the basement. I left her. I was like, I don't want no parts of her. And so I became this other person who was unrecognizable, who can't remember years of her life. And,
when you leave your when you leave whatever age you leave and leave that child there, is that the point where, like you said, that you become dead? When you
yeah, I
leave
was
that
gone.
child, is that the point where you become like the Walking Dead?
Yeah, for me, yes. I was not that little girl anymore at all. So going through that journey and getting to the point where I crashed with depression and all that stuff, I was just like, this. I had to go back. Part of my therapy was going back to rescue that little girl.
Okay.
I had to literally go in my mind and visualize what she looked like. I left her there for over 20 some years. I left her there. I was like, I don't want her. I was like, no. But in order for me to heal, I had to go back and get her. I had to go back and give her the love that I needed, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. There are things that happen in our lives for a lot of us that make us run away. They make us try to tune out and become, almost supernatural in ignoring what actually happened to us. And you find that you're not actually going to be able to grow up unless you come back running back to yourself. Unless you come back running to yourself with open arms, with the grace, the mercy, and the strength, the resilience that it's going to take for you to repair what needs to be repaired. We have a responsibility to work on ourselves in life, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not up for debate. We have to work on ourselves. You want to say something before we go to break?
Sure. The only thing that I want people to know is you have to make that decision. Nobody else can make the decision for you to heal. You have to make the decision that that's not what you want to be anymore. And you have to understand too that you're going to go into dark places. However, once you come out on the other side, man, when we come back for break, I tell y'all about the other side. It's so beautiful. It is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Malaun Rice. She's a survivor. This is a very powerful story. And don't go anywhere because we'll be right back after this brief message. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network and our viewership. And we're back. Malaun, how you feeling out there? Your mic is muted. How you
Okay, I'm
feeling?
back. Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
I'm
All
good.
right.
Yes.
Now let's talk about what happened as you began to rekindle a relationship with yourself. We're raising awareness about the potentially abusive relationship that we are in with ourselves, and that we need to snap out of. We need to grow out of. What happened
Well,
after you began to repair yourself?
it's not potential. It definitely is something you do have that I suggest people do is go back and, find yourself who you were supposed to be before all your trauma happened. Even, trauma is, a lot of different things,
Mhm.
trauma is just not sexual assault. It could be a divorce. It could be, I had a friend who had a stillborn child. It could be the death of a child, a parent, a loved one, a husband. Trauma could be you have an abortion. It could be so many different things.
Mhm.
Trauma is so much. It's not just black and white. But I do suggest, but you have to do it in your own time and when you're ready for it. But my first step was just understanding that I didn't want to live like that anymore, that I knew that it has to be something bigger and better out here. And so
That's
I
right.
went to therapy, start looking at who I was, going against the grain with the thoughts that were in my head, the negative thoughts, the things that you keep telling yourself over and over again. That's not true.
Mhm.
So you have to actually come against those thoughts because those thoughts can take you out. A lot of people don't like to share their thoughts, and you really shouldn't share your thoughts with everybody. Share your thoughts with people that you trust, how you feel. I think I'm a huge advocate for transparency and honesty.
Mhm.
So I'm that person. If you ask me a question, if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask me because I'm going to
Right.
tell you the truth.
Right.
So I went through that, and I fought through those thoughts. It was really the thoughts, the thoughts and the perception of who I thought I was, not having the self-worth or having the trust or becoming disattached to myself, even in sexually, because when you have been sexually assaulted, you lose all of that, and you don't even realize that until you get into therapy that you totally lost yourself. And so you slowly get it back. But once, and I'm not gonna lie to anybody out here, you know, going through therapy was difficult. It was not easy, but I would not exchange it for nothing in the world, like literally, because I love the person that I am now. It's a forever process. I mean, I'm still having, I have triggers. You'll learn about triggers, things that, make you feel, like, crazy or manic. You're like, and you have
Mhm.
to sit down and be like, okay, why do I feel this way? Where is this coming from? Instead of
Right.
projecting everything on everybody else. But you have to, when you're in therapy, you got to do the work. So for y'all who don't believe in therapy, stop it. There's nothing wrong with it. I promise you. But the thing about it is you're going to have to do the work. And that's the internal work in here, in your heart, and in here, definitely in here.
That's right.
So you have to really undo everything that you learned. Like, everything that you're going to undo, and you're going to define it based on who you are, because what you need, Cedric, is different from what I need, right?
That's right. Yep.
And we may have some things that are similar, but find out what works for you, right? So for me, I'm a huge advocate of self-care too. And I know that's some of those buzzwords that I see a lot of social media, self-care and all this stuff, but self-care is important, so define what self-care is for you. Okay.
That's
And
right.
learn that. But when I started to feel myself, when I rescued that little girl and I made her a part of me again and just protected her,
Mhm.
how I would want to be protected, I felt, man, like this huge veil of heaviness just lifted. And it was like the sky was more blue, the birds were singing, the trees looked, I was just, a euphoric, happy feeling.
That's right.
And anybody can get there. You just have to do the work and want to, but I was stuck in victim mentality for a long time, like it was everybody else's fault, sometimes with everybody telling you that you're the problem, you probably are. You know, so just look in yourself. You know, I ask those questions all the time, you know, because like I said, I'm not perfect. And, you know, I work on myself daily, you know, and I grow daily. I'm a new person when I, you know, learn new things. So this is what I speak about partially. Or mostly I speak about you know, just, you know, helping, you know, my story in its totality, you know, helping because we only have an hour here because I tell you my story, I could be here all day. You know, but
Well,
telling my story and
hold on,
yes.
hold on. I
Hmm.
find that so many people have left that little girl or that little boy on a stoop somewhere, on a couch somewhere, on a stair somewhere, and they need to go back and get them. You
Hmm.
know, we open this conversation up with your childhood, and some people, they have difficulty talking about that childhood, and to what extent have you left that little boy or that little girl 30 years back or 20 years back, however many years ago it was. And the fact is, you need to go back and get them, and you need to make sure that they are here with you in this moment, because when you do that, then like you
Hmm.
said, you know, stress is lifted, anxiety is lifted, all these things get better, get brighter in your world. And so I want to really raise awareness about what you're saying tonight, which is we need to go back, get that child, do the necessary work, and reincorporate that child into the core of who we are today. So everybody out there, I really want to start that challenge here on America's Next Motivator. Go back and get your child. Go back and get that baby. And I'm not talking about, you know, a baby that you've birthed. I'm talking about you, yourself. Go back and get yourself. Take care. Get the therapy. You're right. We don't run to therapy. So many of us do not run to therapy. A lot of us do not believe in therapy. But what
Hmm.
you're raising awareness about tonight, which I think is absolutely key, is that therapy helps. Therapy worked for you. How
It
many?
did.
Are you still in therapy?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I have no shame. Yes.
The quality of the conversations that we have with the general public, they
Hmm.
don't always, you know, they don't always go where we would need them to go in order to have healing properties.
Hmm.
When you have a in-depth, comprehensive conversation with a therapist, somebody who knows how to take you back to a moment that traumatized you and how to close that end healthily, effectively, and so that you can move forward, it means the world to somebody. And so go out there and get a therapist, y'all. Now, when you started speaking, did you find success right away, or was it tough for you when you began to share your story?
No, it wasn't tough. My background is in marketing. So I
Okay.
had to talk, you know, so that's my career. So talking was not a problem for me.
Mhm.
The very first time I told my story in front of people, it was a little difficult, but it was actually healing. Every time I tell my story, is healing for me because I
Mhm.
may learn something about myself that I didn't realize. It comes out based on a question somebody asked me or something like that. So
Mhm.
no, um, it wasn't hard, you know, for me to speak about me and what I've been through, you know, and people are so surprised that I'm that transparent. So, but it, you know, like we said, it's thousands of people out here who was like me years ago who didn't have any tools, you know, they didn't know what to do, you know. So therapy is great. Definitely, I prayed a lot, you know, I prayed a lot. I never gave up on my faith. I didn't. Um, and I basically made a choice that I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be have joy. I wanted to be a you know a better sister, daughter, friend, you know, whatever, girlfriend, whatever. I wanted to be a better version of all of that. But you can't do that, you know. Well, it's dysfunctional. In my opinion, it's dysfunctional when you got two people who haven't worked on themselves trying to navigate relationships and things like that. It's or, you know, whatever. I mean, they might, you know, both
See,
love that
that
victim.
part right there, that part right there, or
Mhm,
whatever, is
mhm,
where we have to begin to draw the line. There can't
mhm,
be an or whatever in a world that's changing. Our world is changing. We're moving into a virtual era, and
mhm.
the physical work that you need to do on your life, that we have to normalize doing that work on your life, because now we live in a virtual world. And so if your physical self is not intact and it's not healthy, and you're trying to survive in an increasingly virtual world, I mean, you feel like you got 100 pounds on your shoulders now. Just imagine how heavy that weight is going to be, 10, 15, and 20 years from now, when things are even more virtual.
Yeah.
And so
Uh-huh.
we have to normalize doing that self-work. I know we live in a world of free will. I know we live in a world where, people, can make choices and people can do what they want to do. But my perspective is that we have to have more conversations like these, so that people realize, hey, I might have put it off for many, many years, but the time is now for me to work on myself. No job, no relationship with somebody else. Doesn't matter if you write a book or two, you have children, you're successful in your career. None of that takes the place of you doing the work on yourself that you need to do. And I speak about this. I spent years of my life in foster care. I understand that we have faults. We are broken somewhere. Be honest. You're broken somewhere. You can't laugh that off. You can't save face that away. Nothing you do is
Drink it
going to
or
change.
smoke it away either.
Yeah, you can't drink it or smoke it away either.
Yeah.
Nothing that you
So
can think of or do is going to change the fact that you're broken somewhere. And gone are the days of I'm just going to live a lie. I don't care what type of music you're listening to make the time go past. I don't care what type of activities you're doing to make yourself feel good. Do the work on yourself. That's the day and age we're in, and that's what we got to do.
yes,
So you began.
I
You
would.
began to go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're probably going to ask me what I was going to say anyway.
Well, I was going to ask you, what is your message to people out there who've had an experience similar to yours? They haven't spoken out, and maybe they're self-sabotaging right now tonight. What do you say to them tonight?
Well, if you have been sexually assaulted in any shape, way, or form, number one, is not your fault. There's nothing, I don't care how many times you play in your head, there's absolutely positively nothing that you could have done to stop that from happening. It happened. Okay. So don't beat yourself up. Forgive yourself too, because I carried all that. Like if I just would have not did this and that, no, let that go. Um, Also, if you have not talked to anybody about this ever, find somebody that you trust with your thoughts and tell them if they love you. So they want to see you do better. So tell them and get it out. So because when you tell somebody, you're gonna be like, whew, trust me, you
That's
will.
right.
You're gonna be able to breathe. And then, get some therapy. I believe Taraji P. Henson has a whole directory of uh, therapists, more specifically African American therapists, on her website, all from all over the
Okay.
country. And because we're in Corona, I think it's the Boris P. Henson or something like that foundation. I think she
Okay.
has all the therapists in the country, Black therapists up there. And therapists are doing Zoom. Just how we on here, this is how they do a lot of their sessions because of coronavirus.
That's right.
So I hear people say it's not available in my neighborhood, my community. Well, it's virtual. So now you don't have an excuse.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
Um, I feel related to you somehow. I feel that you're very
you
genuine,
do, you might
down to earth. Yeah, I think
thank
I
you.
can see you. I can see you fitting in my community. You're welcome to stop by here on America's Next Motivator anytime you have a message for people who might need a word from you. Because, like I said, you coming forward to share your story in the manner that you're sharing it, I think is very encouraging for other people who are going through this and who have gone through this in America and around the world. So again, I want to commend you on the audacity that it's taken for you to not only, decide that you wanted to heal from it, but you went and got help, and you said, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of our conversation today is when you said, I am not a victim anymore. How can other people get there to the point where they feel like this happened to me, but I am not that experience alone. I'm still a winner. I'm still victorious. I'm great. I'm awesome. And I'm being honest. Talk about it.
Well, you got to work on yourself. You do. And that includes, let me say what I did. So definitely therapy. I sat with myself. I asked myself, why do I think the way I think? Why do I feel the way I feel? Question a lot of things that I was taught that was supposed to be right, and things like that. But the very first thing is, like you said, not wanting to be that anymore, have all these feelings and feeling down and feeling like the world is you, these low vibrational thoughts that you will have. So I would definitely, like I said, the first thing I would do is tell somebody who you trust, and get the help you need. And the person, or if you want to come see me, you can,
Right.
because that, like I said, I'm a life coach. I'm not a therapist. So I just wanted people to know the difference. I'm not a therapist. So if I feel like you need a therapist, I will definitely tell you that, you should go to a therapist first, because a life coach is going to push you to your greatest. And if if I trigger you too much, you're not going to want to work with me or any life coach for that matter. But I definitely, you got to fight through all your thoughts. You got to replace the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts. Stop saying you're fat. Stop saying that you'll never do something. Stop saying that nobody gonna hire you because you're Black or white or Hispanic, whatever you are. Stop saying all the negative thoughts. You can do that on your own. Stop with the negative thoughts.
How do you
And
just
why
stop? Is it how do you just stop? I mean, it's easy to, and this is where I
it's
shake
not
the
just
room up a
stop.
little bit.
It's
Right.
it's not just stopping. It's part of you working on yourself. I listened to positive affirmations in my ears for 2 years, literally
Okay.
every day, going to work, coming back. I'm going to work because
By
I was
who?
desperate. I was like,
By who? By
oh,
who? From here.
I listen. It's a couple people, who I started off with. Louise Hay, God rest her soul. She's not here anymore, but you can find her on YouTube. She has affirmations that you can listen to. You know, they up to her so. Maybe, but I listen to them all the time. But that may not be for everybody. That was just for me. You also can do mirror work. Lisa Nichols, who is my current coach, she teaches about mirror affirmations. Looking yourself in the mirror, looking in your eyes and your soul, and telling yourself, you're not fat. You're not work, and replacing it with, you are worthy, or you are loved, or whatever that may be. You have to practice doing those things, because that's what makes your mind start to go the other direction, and start understanding that, and you start seeing who you really are. I started to see who I really was. So the thing about it is, in the Black community, we have colorism. So I was told for years, "Oh, you're cute to be dark." So I never thought I was an attractive woman because I was dark skinned. So, so I had to reverse that. And when I reversed that, I started to see myself for who I was, and for, you know, what I look like. I was able to see myself for the first time. It was very weird, but I was like, oh, okay. They
That's
missed
right.
out. No problem. And I kept going.
That's right.
So you have to do those things. And you have to, whatever works for you. But I definitely therapy. Or if you want to go on YouTube and find Louise Hayes, see if that works for you, that's fine. If you want to sign up for Lisa Nichols, who is my coach, she's on motivatedthemasses.com. You want to come see me, then you can go. I'm scheduling clarity appointment. So you can go to Calendly, CALENDLY.com/ my last name. I mean, my first and last name, which is Malaun Rice. And I will schedule a clarity appointment with you. So I'll talk
Okay.
to you.
That's phenomenal. What is the
Yes.
legacy that you intend to leave on earth?
That's a good question. So for me, what the legacy I want to leave is just that you can heal. Like you can. It's not the easiest journey, but it's worth it. It's worth you finding out who you were before that trauma happened. And some people's trauma started from birth. It's worth you finding out who you were sent here, who you were meant to be, finding out who your purpose was or is. It's worth it. We've been taught, a lot of the stuff, especially for Black people, has been handed down from slavery, and we don't even believe in ourselves. We are powerful people. Like we
Right.
really
Right.
are. We got a superpower.
That's right.
So the thing about it is just try. It's try every day, and it's about you and who you are, and fill your cup up. We so busy filling up everybody else's cup up. Fill up yours first. You can't love nobody. Here's something oh my God, I learned this. You
Okay.
really cannot love anybody until you love yourself first.
Hmm.
Not to the capacity where we all deserve to be loved.
That's right.
So, like, I could say, sir, I do love you. I don't have to know you to love you.
Hmm.
But if I didn't love myself the way I love myself now, 20 years ago, I would have never said that to you. I'd be like, love him. He better be lucky I like him.
Right.
So
Right.
those are the things that be going through people's heads. And so you can heal from it. You can heal from being a foster kid, because that's abandonment. You
Hmm.
can heal from being, divorced, or heal from, people rejection, because I felt a great deal of rejection, and I'm pretty sure that you did too at some point, so
Hmm.
you can heal from those things. It's not impossible, but you have to do the work and work with somebody who that you can work with, that, you feel like can help you, give you the tools that you need to move forward so you can heal. So definitely do that. I implore you. It's your choice out there, whether you want to do it or not. But the life that you see now is so way, way bigger than what you think it is. Is
Hmm.
you like literally it is. A
That's
lot
right.
of y'all out there are talented, and you scared because you stuck in here.
Yep. That's right.
So come play. Come on. It's a whole bunch of people out here that want to help you, who gonna love on you too, and have no intentions of hurting you. You know why? Because we know what that feels like.
Hmm.
Nobody, I have no intentions of ever hurting you. Know what that feels like.
I want to co-champion with you um, some of what you're saying. A lot of the things that you said tonight, they came specifically from you, and I appreciate you for saying so much of what you've said from your experience tonight. But I grew up thinking that black was beautiful, and
Mhm.
that no matter what shade of black you were, that you were awesome. And
Mhm.
as I got older, in fact, you might get made fun of if you were a little bit too light skinned. Being honest,
That's
where I'm from.
ridiculous too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
that's
it's ridiculous.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous too.
But as
Yeah,
I got older, and particularly now, I understand that there are a lot of people who are discriminated against by black people and everybody else because they are so-called dark skinned. And so I want to make it plain for me that we need to lock arms and we need to stand in solidarity with one another. Everybody's black is beautiful. Period. There is genius
absolutely.
There is genius and majesty, and grace and levitation, and everybody's black. And that's the stance that we're having here on America's Next Motivator. I see so much beauty in all of my people. And we need to hold the line on that. We need to normalize dark-skinned women in positions of leadership, dark-skinned women at the head of the organization, getting as much respect as anybody else. Just don't treat somebody differently because of the color of their skin. But what we're not going to do in the psychology that is the conversation we have on this show is not put dark-skinned people darker than me or even darker than you, Malaun, in their proper place, which is at the top, with whoever else is at the top. Dark-skinned people belong there too. So now, as we round third base, I just got a few questions for you, and we got about 20 seconds left in the show. My first question: 20 seconds left in the show. What is survival to you?
Okay. What we see out here, what we've been taught is more specific. And I know I'm talking to everybody, but as a Black person, we're taught that survival is deal with it and keep going. I do not believe that at all. Okay. I don't believe, because somebody get pregnant, they send them down south. Why? Can somebody please write me and tell me why that was necessary? Or, it's all about not dealing. So survival is avoidance to me. So,
what is success to you?
Whatever you deemed it to be. Success for me may be success for you, different for you. So success to me is making sure being on this show, this is success, because people are going to hear this.
What is greatness to you?
God.
There you go. Everybody get your crown emojis ready. Get your crown emojis ready. Malaun, I want to let you know that I've listened to your story today. I love the way that you overcame adversity. You decided not to be a victim. You made a choice to heal yourself, to rise up, and to help others. I'm giving you your respect today. That's what this hour is about, giving you your respect today. And we're giving you your crown today while you can still receive it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, put your crown emojis into the chat.
Thank you so much.
We are letting you know, letting the world know that you, Malaun Rice, you are America's Next Motivator.
Yay! Excellent. I'm here for it.
Today, all right?
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Remember to make an appointment if you want to see me. Find me on social media too.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up.